Hey everyone, on this lab exercise we're going to be walking through rock, paper, scissors, right? So as you can see there isn't much instructions, so you would have to find a way on creating rock, paper, scissors from scratch, right? And that's what we're going to do. So as discussed in class, you must code the game rock, paper, scissors in Python, okay? And you're going to be using a multiplicity of different concepts that you would have learned, such as the random module. We're going to use the while loop, right? Typecasting, um, if statements, right? And a few others. So the first thing that we want to do, we want to import our random module, right? And I'm going to be including a lot of comments just to keep track of what our code is doing. So we're going to import random, okay? Right. Next, we want to print um, a welcome message on some explanations on how to play rock, paper, scissors, right? So you could say this comment or this line of code is going to be a welcome message, a help explanation, just in case our user doesn't know how to play the game, right? So we're going to print welcome to rock, paper, scissors. And I don't think we have discussed this in classes yet, but I'm going to use something called an escape character, right? We use them inside of quotations to garner something like a tabbed space or a new line, right? So if I wanted to go to a new line, I would hit \n, and that would carry my string onto a new line. So if I hit enter, it should open up some quotation from. So I'm just going to give the user a brief explanation on how to play rock, paper, scissors. So I'm going to say rock versus paper is equal to paper wins. So again, \n to go to a new line. I'm going to say rock versus scissors means rock wins. \n. Next, I'm going to say paper versus scissor means scissor wins. Right. So let's see our code so far. So we run. Okay, great. Um, Let me include the \n at the beginning. So I have a space in between. Okay, nice. So the next thing that we want to do, we want to create a while loop. We want to create a while loop because we want the users to keep on playing until they say no, right? So we're going to ask them for an input, and if they input something and it's something like N or no, the while loop is going to keep on running, right? So until they enter N or no, um, we're going to have our while loop running, right? So we're going to say while true, okay? So remember, anything, as long as we're inside of this while loop and it keeps on running, everything is going to be run over and over until we break out of the loop, right? So we want the user to keep on, or we want to print back a message to them stating to enter a choice, right? So every time they create a new game, we want them to enter a choice. So we could say, let's create a print statement. Let's say choose, and you're going to learn about a new um, escape character, the \t. We're just gonna create a tab space, right? So say one, we want them to enter either 1, 2, or 3. So 1 is gonna represent rock. Now after rock, we're gonna tab. 2 is gonna represent paper, also tab. And 3 is gonna represent scissor. Let's run. Let's see. Okay, we're in an infinite loop, right? Because it's always true. So we see, okay, great, we have our tab spaces. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so after this while loop, we want to take in an input from the user, right? So let's say user choice, and we want them to enter a number. So we're gonna create a variable called choice, and we're gonna typecast that variable. So we want to convert the string into an integer or a number, right? So we're gonna say user turn. Let's go with that. We're gonna ask them to enter 1, 2, or 3, depending on the choice that they want to use. Right. So let's create another while loop. We're gonna create a while loop inside of our while loop, right? And we're gonna keep looping until the user enters. We're gonna keep looping until the user enter an invalid input. Right. So we're gonna say while choice is greater than 3, or choice is less than 1, and you could switch the order that you wanna use. So you could say choice less than 1 and choice greater than 3. So we're going to say choice equals int input, enter valid input. Alright, enter valid input. That's on our code. Let's see what we have so far. So we are at this line 14, return. Let's say enter the number greater than 3, so let's say 4. It's going to come back and say enter valid input. Right? It's going to come back and say enter valid input. Till I enter valid input. Okay, that's when my line of code reruns. Okay, great. Now, let's move on. Let me include my comment. So I'm going to say loop until user enter valid input. Okay, so we need to create some conditionals. We need to create some conditional statements to check if choice is equal to 1 or choice is equal to 2 and so forth and so forth. Right, so let's say if choice, actually I want to come out of my nested loop right there. I'm going to say if choice, and please pay attention to your to your spacing in your tabs, right? I don't want this if statement or these conditionals that I'm about to write inside of my nested while loop, and you're going to see my IDE is indicating that my conditionals is about to be inside of my while loop. I actually want these conditionals to be a part of this while loop, right? So remember, tabbing and spacing of Python is very, very important. So I'm going to say if choice is equal to 1, and I want to initialize a new variable called choice name, right? Because I want my program to sort of make this relationship between the choice or the number that I'm selecting and the actual word. So if I select 1, I want the name that I'm choosing to be rock. And so I want the string rock have a relationship with the number 1. I want the string paper have a relationship with the number 2, right? So I'm going to initialize a new variable. So if choice is equal to 1, I'm going to create a variable called choice name, and I'm going to call that rock, right? And again, we haven't discussed this in classes yet, but elif, okay, it's a way of nesting more than one conditional statements, right? So you can think of it like this: we don't just want our computer to make choices, either black or white, or just give the computer 1 or 2 choices, right? What if we have a multiplicity of choices, right? So this is where the elif comes in, right? So elif is sort of, it's like I always tell you, like Python. It's one of those programming languages where you could read the code as plain English. So elif is really saying, if my computer doesn't do this or the user doesn't choose this, then I want this to happen. If they don't do that, then I want this to happen. If they don't do that, then I want this to happen. Whereas if we previously went with the if else statement, that is just read like if the user doesn't choose this, then this happens. That's the end, right? You just want more choices. And that's where elif comes in. So I'm going to say if choice is equal to 2, then I want to set choice name to be paper, right? So we're creating this string and number relationship. So if the user doesn't select 1 or 2, then the final choice can only be scissors, right? Sorry, choice name. It's going to be scissors. Okay, great. So let's just print our choice name just to make sure our program is running thus far. Right? So let's run. So user turn, let's select 1. Okay, great. So it's printing the choice name and it's looping back through. So if I select 2, choice name is now paper, and I select 3, the choice name is now scissor. Now what happens when we run, when we select something that's greater than 3 or less than 1, this while loop is going to run, right? Right? And so we select 4, it's going to ask me to enter a valid input. If I select 0, same thing. There we go. Okay, right. So let's include a comment. There we go. So let's move forward. So we printed the user choice. Actually, let's format that a bit better. So we can say user chose choice name. Okay. So now we need a way to initialize the computer choice, right? And that's where the random module comes in, right? So we could say, we can use the random module. Let's initialize a variable called computer choice, and we'll shorten it to com choice. We're going to set the random, we're going to initialize a random variable, right? It's going to generate a random number between 1, 3. Remember to use the round end because we want 3 to be inclusive, right? So let's include a comment. The computer is going to randomly select rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, great. So we also need a way to loop until computer choice value is equal to the choice value. So we could set another while loop. We're gonna say com choice is equal to choice, right? And if that's true, we want to set computer choice to be random dot rand int. Alright, so what this is doing is we're saying if the computer choice and the user choice is the same, then we want to generate another random number. Right, so we never want their choice to be the same, or this is sort of what we call an edge case. We don't want our computer and our user to have the same choice, so the game is never going to result in a tie. Right, if you do want your game to result in a tie, you can exclude lines 34 and 35, right? So again, the computer So the computer is going to keep generating a new choice if so again the computer is going to keep generating a new choice if com choice and choice variables are the same. Alright, so the game's never going to result in a tie. Right, so again make sure to come outside of this while loop. Alright, and we're back on the parent while loop. Right, so we need a way to initialize the value of com choice name the same way we did on from line 21 to line 26, right, where we have this number string relationship. So we also want to do that for the computer choice. So we could say if com choice is equal to 1, same thing. We want to initialize a variable called computer choice name and set that to rock, right? So again, lf is actually equal to 2. Then we want to set the computer choice name to be paper. Guess it right. So the computer selects or generates a random number other than 1 or 2, which it can only be 3. Then we're going to set computer choice name to be, yes, scissor. Right, so again, we could say, include a comment, initialize number string relationship. Right, so again, after the same way that we printed the choice of the user, after the initialization of the number string relationship, we want to do the same thing for the computer choice. Alright, so we could say print computer chose. I'm going to use my dot format. Okay, feel free to use the comma method. Alright, I'm going to stick with the dot format. I'm going to say computer choice name. Wow, let's run our program and see where we're at thus far. Alright, so we're going to run. The user chose, let's go with 2. The computer chose. Okay, let's see. Computer choice name. My program isn't telling me what my computer chose. So let's see whether we go wrong. Okay, let's try to rerun our program. So the user chose 1, the computer chose blank. Okay, let's see where did we go wrong. And I actually want to leave these errors in my program inside of the video. I'm not going to cut them out because I want you to realize that your program is never going to work right away. Alright, so I'm going to leave this and show you the process of problem solving. And so I have if com choice is equal to 1, I'm going to set my computer choice name. Okay, let's try a different method. So we're going to use the comma method to put together our variables and strings. Let's see if that works. Okay, that did work. So let's go back and try the dot format again. My dot format is not working. Okay, let's run again. Okay, let's go back to, let's try the concatenation method where we use the plus sign. Let's see if that works. Okay, so again, I don't understand why the dot format function isn't working. Okay, so I'm going to use print again. Let's try this one more time. If it doesn't work, then I'll go with the option that does work. So I'm going to say the computer chose dot format, oops, dot format computer choice name. Okay, let's see. So the user chose rock, the computer chose it's empty. So again, I'm going to go with the method that works. I'm not sure why that isn't working. It's working for my user choice, but not my computer method. Okay, so I'm going to use the comma method. I'm going to say computer choice name. Let's run, make sure that works before we move forward. Computer chose rock. Sorry, user chose rock, the computer chose paper. Okay, so let's move forward. So let's just print a nice message stating that let's state the computer choice name and the user choice name, right? So we could say choice name versus plus computer choice name. So we run, the user chose rock. Okay, there we go. The computer chose scissor. Then we printed this line, which is on line 50, rock versus scissor. Okay, nice. So now the last thing, or one of the last things that we need to do next, and this is gonna take a bit of thinking, we need to set a condition for who actually wins, right? So if the user chose one thing and the computer chose another thing, then we need to set some conditionals to see who wins. So let's start by setting a condition for paper to win. All right, so we could say if, and we need to nest our conditions, right? So in class we learned about nesting conditional statements with the and keyword or the or keyword, right? So in this instance we're going to be using and or, right? So we could say if choice is equal to 1 on computer choice, not name, computer choice is equal to 2, okay? Or choice is equal to 2 and computer choice is equal to 1, right? I am missing a bracket somewhere. Is it here? Okay, I'm not missing a bracket. So, if that is true, you want to print, I am missing something. Oh, I'm missing my opening bracket. There we go. So, if these conditions are true, then I want to print paper wins. And I also want to initialize another variable called result, right? I want to initialize another variable called result. And I'm going to show you why I'm initializing this after we've set our condition for winning. So I'm going to set result to paper. Let's set result to paper, right? So I'm going to create an elif. So we're going to say elif choice is equal to 1, right? So if the computer selects rock, if the user selects rock and the computer selects scissors, right? We're going to say or choice, if the user selects scissors and the computer selects rock, then we want to print rock wins, right? Let me see, I'm missing a colon again. Right, I think it's my ending colon. I have a misplaced colon up here, and that colon goes at the bottom. Right, so with rock wins, I want to set the result variable to rock. And so, again, if both of these conditions aren't true, we could set a simple else statement. So we could set print scissor wins, right? So I was going to come back to why I'm initializing this result variable, and the reason why is, even though that we've set our conditions for winning, our program still doesn't know who wins. We still didn't declare a winner, right? Still didn't declare a winner. So we could say if result is equal to choice name, right? So if our result variable is equal to what our user chose, right? We want to say print user wins. Great. So simple else statement. If the result isn't equal to what the user chose, then we could say print computer wins. Okay, and remember this is a while loop, so we want to ask the user if they want to play again. So we could say print, do you wish to play again? And we could set a new variable called answer. We're going to set that to an input. Now, keep in mind that if you want to include your messages directly inside of your input statements, you could do that, right? And so, again, we're at the end of our while loop, and so we're going to ask the user if they want to play again. And so this is where the break statement comes in, right? So if they answer no, so if the answer is equal to n, or actually let's do this. So I want to ask them to select yes or no, alright? And then I'm going to say if answer is equal to n, then I want to break, alright? Then I want to break. But here's the issue. What happens if the user enter a lowercase n? Alright, what happens if they enter a lowercase n? So instead of doing this, we could hit dot lower on our input function, right? And that's going to convert any answer, anything you input on the keyboard, whether it be a lowercase n or an uppercase n, that's going to convert that input into lowercase, right? So as a result, we could just compare our answer to a lowercase n, right? So let's run our entire program. Am I getting an error? Oh, sorry. I'm thinking about JavaScript. So let's run our program. See what we get. So again, we have user choice. I'm going to select one. The user chose, again, my .format function isn't working. I have no idea why, but instead I'll just go with the method that works, my common method. So the choice name. So let's run again. Let's select one. Okay, the user chose rock, the computer chose paper. So rock versus paper. Paper wins, computer wins. What happens if I select N? That's going to break out of the loop, right? It breaks out of the loop. So let's just print a result. Let's print something that says, thanks for playing. Okay, so again, if we go back, select 1, and we say no, thanks for playing. Now let's try an uppercase N. Okay, great. So let's select paper. User chose paper, the computer chose scissor. Paper versus scissor. Scissor wins, computer wins. Wow, this computer is really good. So let's try again. So how would I go with rock again? I like rock. Oh man, this computer's kicking my butt. Let's try again. What about scissors? Oh wow. Okay guys, so that is lab exercise for rock, paper, scissors. Okay?